it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build in Britechester for the University of Britechester. I felt as though the Commons needed an upgrade. The U-Brite Commons, Darby's Den, I believe is what the lot is actually called, was very open. It was very not filled. It was, I guess you could say, empty. That would be the appropriate word. It really just didn't have a lot of functionality. The cafeteria was really small. There was a mic stand, there were some bookcases, and a few desks. And that is all you need. I think you need a mic because you have to be able to perform comedy and stuff like that. There also has to be, the podiums for the debate guild. So that's another element, as well as the cafeteria station. So those are the three necessary activities that one has to be able to perform and practice at the University Commons. So I was keeping that in mind, but I also wanted the Commons to be extremely functional in other ways. I wanted to add a gym, a movie theater. I wanted there to be some games, just kind of some hangout spots too. I wanted there to be the ability to use the research archive computer machine thing that we got, which I actually think was already on the U-Brite Commons lot prior to me completely stripping it down. So I kept a lot of the same functionality, of course the necessary functionality, but I wanted to enhance it just a little bit more because I was thinking about kind of the student commons or student center at my university, and there were a lot of things. So I think the cafeteria was there, the gym. There was actually kind of a little hangout spot, as well as a place where we had an open mic night, which was kind of cool. And there was also an area where there could be student-run businesses. So I don't know how I would actually replicate that in The Sims, but that was kind of my thought process. I wanted there to be a lot more functionality because if you think about it, on these university campuses, there is not a gym. There isn't a pool. There isn't all of these other cool things that you actually might find on bigger campuses. Granted, when we think about the athletic complex, that might not just be an arena or a stadium. That might be, quote unquote, where the gym or pool or something is, but obviously we can't use it and we do not know if it exists there. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of brought a few more fun elements to the student commons. And I spent a lot of time on the exterior because I really, really wanted it to match everything in the University of Britechester, which was challenging because we didn't get the same kind of roof pattern. I really wanted a different kind of, I guess, slated metal roof, but I could only kind of work with the black. So it matched the university dorms that are on either side of this quad area. So I was okay with it. But as for the different windows, I love these windows. So I'm definitely not complaining. I love all of the windows that we got with this pack. However, they're all 2 tiles wide, and we didn't get any of the archways that you can see in some of the other surrounding lots that you can't actually access. There are a lot of architectural elements I felt as though we did not get that would have been so cool, and therefore I had to try to replicate it. So I did use those archways from the vampire pack, which I was really excited about because the stone color and texture actually really worked. I was stoked, and I loved adding that because if you look at some of the dorms in this quad for the University of Britechester, you'll see that there's almost an outer, not layer, but kind of an outer room to the builds where there are these beautiful archways, and then there are windows within those archways. So it's just really adding some depth and dimension to the build itself. And I was really excited to be able to replicate that. And the reason why I mentioned the windows is because I was kind of bummed that I couldn't take any of the new windows that we got and put them in the center of those arches, because the arches are 3 tiles wide. All of the windows we have are 2. So none of them would fit right in the middle of the arches. So I kind of just said, screw it, and I put them wherever I felt the windows should go with the layout of the second story that I ended up coming up with. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. And now we're finally on the interior. And this was a little overwhelming because, well, it's a giant rectangle. How are we gonna divide this up? I knew I wanted kind of a quote unquote grand stairway up to the second story, and I also needed access to the basement that I create. Yes, another basement. I love basements now. They are a great way of really adding not only functionality, but just a lot more space to your builds. So I was really excited about that. And I also had to make sure that there were the basic amenities like bathrooms. So that was kind of challenging at first. I did kind of divide things up, and as you can see on the exterior, the windows on that first level really just coordinate or kind of work with the room design that I laid out. I didn't lay them out all equally, so it might look a little awkward from the back, but I think all in all it looks okay. So now I'm just kind of sort of laying out some essentials. I knew I wanted to use these boards and this artwork in the cafeteria, so I got them out immediately. And the cafeteria may look small, but there's actually a lot of seating there, which I was really excited about. And as you can see, I used that statue in the front too, which is actually really small. I sized it up. I was thinking that was like the founder of Britechester. Granted, I think that's what you unlock with the, is it like the villain career, whatever the case is, the criminal career? That's like the master villain or something in the description, but I thought it worked perfectly just with the style I was shooting for in these University Commons, so I liked it, I kept it. And now I first worked on the little kind of like hangout spot. So this has a few bookcases, a fireplace, where there's a lot of fireplaces in this build, all in all. And I finally got to use these new curtains that came with the university. I think I mentioned in my dorm build that I was disappointed we didn't get curtains. I just didn't look. Clearly I didn't look. Somehow I missed them completely. We actually got 2 curtains with university, so I won't complain about that. I take it back. I rescind. It's fine. But this is just kind of a little hangout spot, and I was really stoked to use these new couches and just all of the new kind of fancy-ish furniture, because in a lot of the university housings that I've been building, I haven't been using a lot of this furniture. I haven't been making kind of those fancier, more upscale university housing lots. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to use it here at the Commons. And now I'm just trying to sort out the rug situation. I had to find something that worked that didn't kind of completely overpower the pattern of the couches and the details on this coffee table. And I thought the one that came with university worked perfectly. And I tossed out that little dragon statue because, well, University of Britechester mascot's the dragon, so I thought it was cute. I don't know if you guys would have noticed that. I don't notice small details like that sometimes, but I like including them when I do think of them. So I was excited about that. And like I said, it's just a seating area. There is the fireplace. I actually end up putting like a classical music speaker, I believe here in the cafeteria, and I think that's it. I don't think I put it anywhere else, because if I did put it anywhere else, like in the area where I end up putting the mic stand to practice comedy and stuff like that, it wouldn't work. Like, that would be overpowering. And I don't put it in the debate area either. The gym has a different one and the movie theater has nothing. Yeah, so I think the classical one is just in here and in the cafeteria, so there is that very fancy ambiance, if you will, in some parts of this build. And I did get to use this beautiful chandelier that came with, I believe, was it the Vintage Glamour stuff? I think it was. It was either that or Get Famous or something. And I was really excited because it fit perfectly here. And this room is going to be where the debate podium is. And I made an entire setup. So I did put the 2 tables in the front where both sides, like both teams, would be able to sit, and then tons of chairs kind of going all the way to the back wall there, so people can actually watch the debate or watch them practice, whatever the case may be. And I really liked it because it's a big open space. I figured with the mics, it's going to be reasonably loud. If the debate becomes heated, it may not interrupt what's going on in all of the other rooms as well. So they'll have the room to kind of let the sound bounce off the walls and be muted maybe a little bit. That's definitely thinking way too far, like way too much about this, considering sounds in The Sims are just kind of a crapshoot. Pardon my French. They're kind of a crapshoot. Kind of depends. Like, you can hear the music in other rooms unless your Sim is actively in a room. Like, I don't know. And then I just put a clock here on the wall. I sized this little tiny wall clock up, which I've never actually done, and I really liked it. And then I put some chess tables over on the side. You'll see me duplicate a lot of the artwork that we got with University in this build. So a lot of those kind of like historic looking photos of Britechester and the campus are replicated throughout different rooms because I think they just fit, and I make them varying sizes, so at least it doesn't look like it's too repeated, at least in my opinion. If it kind of bothers you guys, you can always swap them out with something else, of course. But I put the foosball table and the Don't Wake the Llama table here. They're both accessible, though I will say when I put the dartboard between those 2 windows, that might be a challenge. I couldn't have my sim use it. I really did it for looks, so just be aware of that. It probably won't work if you do go ahead and try to use it if you download this build, but I really wanted there to be something on that wall. I didn't want to use artwork. I thought the darts table would work, or the darts thing, the darts activity, and I just kept it there. And now moving on to the little kind of like open mic area, and I love this area. I use the club flag. This is really for like mischief or the jokesters, but I thought it was perfect for like a comedy night or an open mic, and I use the matching rug too. And what's great is that, granted, the colors for Britechester aren't like bright green, they're kind of like a turquoisey green. I still thought it worked. I thought it kind of worked. And then I used these two plants. I was thinking of between two ferns. You guys have seen that, right? With Zach Galifianakis. I don't think those are actually ferns, but they're the only ones that I thought looked nice and worked in this area. So that was my thought process, and that made me laugh. So I really enjoyed it. And I put the bar height tables here with the bar stools so people can actually maybe grab something from the cafeteria and then go watch open mic night. I put the sad clown portrait, which I don't think I've ever used, but I was excited about it because I was thinking that they're trying to turn that clown's frown upside down when they're actually here. I put the anti-Foxbury like poster and just like that set of portraits that we got with, I think, Dine Out. And then I move on to the cafeteria, which I absolutely love. I love the cafeteria. I don't know why I'm so partial to it, but I really, really like it. It seemed really cozy, and there's also an espresso bar that I put in, so that was really exciting to me because that is definitely not something I had at my university at all, so I was stoked about that. And here you'll kind of see me trying to create this not vaulted ceiling look, but have these beams on the ceiling just to add some dimension. But with the columns outside framing the windows, it tried to actually like link to that height because it's not the same height as the wall because of the trim. Does that make sense? So I actually couldn't do it, and I will actually credit Freezer Bunny for that. I was checking out tons of his videos recently. He is an incredibly talented and knowledgeable builder, so if you haven't checked him out yet, definitely do that. But he does that really cool trick where he adds some dimension to the ceilings by adding those columns, or not columns, those kind of like beams and whatnot. So I really, really like that. It didn't work here, but I definitely will be using that in some of my builds because I love that it adds that detail to the ceiling because we can't paint the ceilings or do anything to them. They're just white. It drives me crazy in screenshots when you just see a white ceiling peering out in the corner somewhere. Oh, it drives me up a wall. It really does. Like, I wish we could paint the ceilings. It would be so nice. But now I'm working on the espresso bar. So there is the grinder in the actual espresso machine. And then I add a bunch of debug items. So the little coffee bags, tons of mugs, those little milk jugs, as well as some of those like grinder espresso tools from Get Together. Now, those are really interesting because there are some debug menu items that you cannot delete once you place them. So I had to be very careful as to where I placed those because I would not be able to pick them up or delete them. So it worked perfectly. I hope that when you download this, make sure you have the move objects on cheat because if you don't, half of the things won't place. And I believe that those things will just kind of like disappear. I'm not really sure. But now trying to work out the seating in the cafeteria, it was a little cramped with the picnic tables. I wanted to do that because that would probably be your typical cafeteria. But then I remembered this is kind of a fancier place, so they'll just have regular dining tables and these beautiful chairs that we got with this pack. And there will be a variety of 4-seaters and 2-seaters. As much as I can fit with everything being functional and having it not look too crowded, I also didn't want it to block the archways, like the entrances to the different rooms and all that fun stuff. So I thought it came out really nice. I'm like really giddy about this one. This one made me really happy because I love functional lots in The Sims 4. I don't like something feeling like an obligation for me to like get something done, as in like, for example, my Sims at university, unless they have a microwave, which then they're just having microwave meals, which can get really old really quickly. If I want them to actually have a good meal, they have to go to the cafeteria. So for me, going to the Commons was honestly just an obligation to give them food. And then I had to make them go back to their dorm to like do other activities or other stuff. Now I feel as though my sim could come here and like hang out all day. And that's what some students do on the weekends, right? They just like go to their university commons or their student center because there's tons to do and they just hang out there all day. So that was my thought, and I was really excited about it because I think that now that's exactly what can happen. Like, I feel like that's what your Sims can do. So I'm really, really stoked. And I'm probably gonna repeat that another like 6 times, but that's okay. And now we're working on the upstairs. I believe I tackled the second level prior to the basement. I just thought it was easier. I don't know, it was kind of like that logical extension of going upstairs. So I did work out the window situation. I kind of sort of spaced them in a way that they'll fit in the archways, but not entirely. And originally I was going to section off kind of like the two halves of this upstairs. I wanted there to be a walled off section, and I just realized it wasn't gonna work. So I do end up putting, I think there's like 3 or 4 fireplaces in the upstairs part of this build. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because there's one on each side, at least in the different study areas. There's one kind of sort of common area at the top of the stairs. Maybe there's just 3. But that's a lot of fireplaces. I would think that that would definitely be a fire hazard. So off camera, I kind of realized like, this is dangerous. And I actually put in some smoke detectors, like the fire detectors, because I'm scared of when one of my Sims actually lights the fireplace and then it tries to burn the building down, which no one wants at all. So I did put those in off camera, like I said, and this area is actually just for Sims to be able to sit down and do their homework and stuff like that, maybe bring their own laptops and sit down and study. The other side actually has computers and those archive machines for them to use to up that research and debate skill, as well as just work on some public computers if they don't have their own laptop. And granted, at the library, they could always go there and use the computers and stuff like that, but I did want there to be something a little bit more accessible, close, like within this courtyard, these commons, this common area, like near all the dorms and stuff like that. You guys know what I'm trying to say. And here is just kind of the little seating area, but there's also 2 art easels because I thought that would be kind of nice. So the debate guild has their own area downstairs, and maybe the art guild, I mean, granted it's a little small, but like maybe the art guild comes here too and they paint by the fire, which I thought was a really nice idea. I really, really liked it. It looked really cozy, and again, I got to use all of that comfy looking furniture, so it was a win-win for me. And then this side is going to be identical to the other side of the room, like I said, just with the computers and archive machines. And I absolutely love these bookcases. Love them. I love all of the bookcases that we got with University. I think they're all gorgeous, and I especially like the IKEA looking one, right, for dorms. But I really, really liked these 2, these kind of like more upscale ones. They were absolutely gorgeous, and the height worked perfectly for the height of these walls, I have to say. I really liked it. They also overlap really nicely. As you can see, I overlapped 2 of them, so it looks like there's kind of like these 3 sections, and they worked really well. So I was really happy about that. And now I'm working on the basement. The staircase, I admit, it's a little awkward. What I would prefer is that I could make that kind of like front entryway a little bit longer, but I didn't want it to take up all of that space and not have that little like seating common area either. So sacrifices, people. Sacrifices. And now I'm kind of sectioning out downstairs. So the gym is off to the left where I just placed that door. And then also to the left, I believe, is the bathroom. And then there's the locker room and shower room off to the right. And then there's like this little kind of like entryway to the movie theater as well. And the movie theater is nothing grand. Like, it's pretty small, but I was thinking that it was kind of nice. Like, so maybe like a group of friends could reserve that spot to watch a movie together. Maybe there's like a movie club where they just get together and watch movies, and this is where they hang out. Like, I could create an exclusive club door if I wanted to. Ooh, that's an idea. If you want to make a club where they just watch movies and talk about them, you can make that an exclusive club door. I actually really like that idea. I might do that myself and test that out. Anyway, and now we're kind of like just fleshing out all the wallpapers and floorings for these separate areas. I really liked using the Jungle Adventure flooring, by the way, the wood flooring throughout this entire build. I thought it worked perfectly because it looked somewhat distressed, but not to the point of the Get Famous distressed floorboards, which just looked beat up. There's a difference, right? Like distressed and kind of like looking nice and worn and old compared to like literally beat up and like not taken care of. I think that's the main difference. Oh, I just scratched my desk. And now I'm just kind of putting up some athletic posters and stuff like that on the windows. I thought that was kind of a nice touch. I don't usually do that too often, like putting things on windows like that, but when I do, I really do like how it looks. So I was excited about it. There's a little seating area between these 2. I don't think it's going to be used that much. The bathroom downstairs is identical to the one upstairs, so there's at least 4 toilet stalls on this lot, which I think is sufficient. It's kind of too bad that I was only able to fit 2 upstairs and 2 in the basement, but I thought it worked, and I really like the locker shower room because I was able to toss, I think, 4 or 5 showers, and I love using these lockers from Spa Day, I believe. And then I put these 2 benches from Get Together in the middle and mirrors on the back wall there. So it's really nice. It actually looks really cozy, and it was super simple, so I really liked it. And out here, this is kind of like the, hey, this is the movie theater area, and I was able to place some popcorn machines, which I thought was a nice touch. So you can make some popcorn, run into the theater, and start watching a movie with your friends. And I ended up putting more movie posters here and just another seating area, so in case someone had to like take a phone call or something, I don't know, I'm thinking of a movie theater, that they could go ahead and step into this little area and they could kind of hang out and then jump back in the theater. And I'm using that trick where I use that portrait, shrink it down, and it overlaps beautifully to kind of frame those movie posters. So really excited about that too. And now I'm just working out the movie theater layout. So I tried to use these curtains with a wall-mounted TV and it just didn't work. I tried a few other ones as well, so I ended up using this whole like giant thing. I think that came with Movie Hangout stuff, this whole setup, and then I was able to place the curtains behind it. So I was really happy about that as well. And I use these couches from, I believe, Get Famous to kind of lay out the seating area. So there are some love seats and some single seats, which I thought was nice because I think university students and their significant others can snuggle up and watch a movie. And now I work out the gym. I wanted to use a rock climbing wall, but it was way too tall for the basement. I think this is just like your normal wall height, so that's probably why. I didn't want to make it too tall. So there are at least 4 kind of like workout machines. There's 2 or 3 treadmills and 2 boxing bags. So there's a variety of things for your Sims to do to get in shape and stay in shape. Keep that freshman 15 off, am I right? Because homegirl here, I definitely gained that and then some. And then it took me like 6 months, if not more, to lose it all. So word of advice, if you haven't gone off to university yet, just be careful of that. Don't eat all of those mini fridge microwave meals. They won't do you very well. They won't, I promise. Yeah, they're not very friendly to you. But I really liked that, and that's just me adding the archive machines. And then I just add some roof details here that I had kind of forgotten about, these little kind of like dormer windows, and that's about it. So I hope you guys like this. Can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I will talk to you guys next time I post a video. Bye!
give you more reason